a tough kid from the wrong side of Brockton, Massachusetts. Born in 1923 to Italian immigrants who barely spoke English, his dad busted his back at the local shoe factory for $18 a week. Like a lot of poor kids back then, Rocky dropped out after 10th grade. Had to. Family needed money. Rocky later told Ring magazine that those early jobs were his first real trainers. And when you've busted rocks in the hot sun for 10 hours, getting hit don't seem so bad. Rocky might never have found boxing if Uncle Sam hadn't drafted him in '43. Army stuck him in a camp where some sergeant noticed Rocky could hit like a mule kick. When he got back from the war, Rocky was 23, ancient for someone just starting in boxing. His first amateur fights, clumsy, sloppy messes. His trainer, Charlie Goldman, sized him up and said, "I got a guy who's short, stoop-shouldered, balding, with 2 left feet and a prayer." But Rocky had something else, a fire. He didn't want to be good. He wanted to be untouchable. The philosophy. Rocky didn't bank on talent. He knew he wasn't the prettiest fighter, or the tallest heavyweight, so he leaned on one unbreakable rule: outwork every man alive. It started after an amateur bout where he gassed out early, legs like jelly, lungs screaming. He swore he'd never feel that again. From then on, he trained like every fight was a death match, because back then, it kind of was. His opponents would fade by round 5, sucking wind, while Rocky, he'd be stalking them in round 15, fists still flying like a machine. Archie Moore, a legend who faced him, said, "It wasn't just that he hit hard, it was the sheer volume. He'd throw punches when other guys couldn't lift their arms." That stamina, that will, it came from a training grind so intense, it's almost mythical. Let's break it down. The road work. Most fighters run, but there's running, and then there's whatever Rocky was doing. While others jogged 3 to 4 miles in comfortable gear, Rocky would lace up combat boots with lid weights in the soles and run 10 miles. Minimum. In winter, even better. He'd wear a heavy wool suit under his sweatsuit, not breathable microfiber, thick wool that soaked up sweat until it added 15 pounds. Angelo Dundee once watched Rocky train during a snowstorm. Everyone cancelled road work, Dundee recalled. "We're having coffee, and here comes Marciano running through 8 inches of snow, wearing what looked like a damn winter coat." When asked why he didn't skip just one day, Rocky said, "Champions don't take snow days." The real insanity was the volume. Morning run, 8 to 10 miles. Train all day. Evening run, another 5 miles. 7 days a week. No rest days. Ever. Mickey Mantle once tried joining Rocky for his morning run. "Never again," Mantle told reporters. "I'm in baseball shape, not Marciano shape." After a full day that would crush most men, Rocky would swim across Pemberton Lake, roughly a mile each way, full-on sprint. Power development. Now let's talk about his real sparring partner, a 300-pound heavy bag. Most boxers use a 100-pound bag. Rocky's was triple that, custom-made to take his punishment. He'd pound it for 30 minutes to an hour straight, no breaks, unleashing combos that leave your arms noodles just watching. Why so heavy? Because he wanted resistance, something that fought back, mimicking the giants he'd face. Each punch, hooks, uppercuts, straights, moved that beast, building not just power but endurance. They say he'd hit so hard, he'd dent steel doors during camp. And here's the crazy part. He'd tie his feet together with string while swinging, forcing perfect balance and footwork. One slip, and he'd start over. But it gets weirder. Rocky didn't stop at dry land. He took his fight to the water. He'd wade into a pool at Grossinger's, water up to his shoulders and throw punches, hundreds of them, for 45 minutes straight. Shadowboxing underwater, against the drag of the deep, was his secret weapon. Every jab, every cross fought the resistance, like punching through quicksand. It built muscle, sure, but also lung capacity and stamina, vital for those late rounds. Imagine the burn, the ache as he kept swinging, water splashing around him, turning a swim into a slugfest. He wasn't there to cool off. He was forging an edge. Today's boxers might dip in a pool for recovery. Rocky turned it into a proving ground. No one's crazy enough to try that now. Then there's the bodyweight madness. Rocky didn't need a gym full of chrome. He used his own frame like a weapon. Push-ups, pull-ups, chin-ups, dips. He'd crank out hundreds of reps daily, sets so long his muscles begged for mercy. He'd hang a tennis ball on a string above his bed and punch it half asleep, sharpening hand-eye coordination. Today's fighters might hit the weights for an hour and post it online. Rocky did the basics until he was a fortress. Day after day, no spotlight needed. Sparring like a war machine. If you've hung around boxing gyms, you know the general rule. What happens in sparring stays in sparring. But stories from Rocky's training camps leaked out because they were too insane not to share. Let's put this in perspective. A modern championship boxer might spar 60 to 80 rounds during an entire 8-week camp. They'll wear headgear, use bigger gloves for protection, and often practice at reduced power. Rocky? He'd sometimes spar 100 rounds in a single day. This isn't some fishtail that grew with time. It's documented by multiple witnesses from his camps. While preparing for the Roland Lastaza rematch, Rocky brought in 13 different sparring partners. Each man would go 4 to 5 rounds against Marciano, then tag out for a fresh fighter. Rocky kept going. No breaks. No rest periods. By the final rounds, he'd have been fighting for nearly 5 hours straight. And when Jersey Joe Walcott dropped Rocky with a perfect left hook in their title fight, a shot that would have ended most fighters, Marciano barely remembered it afterward. Getting hit by Walcott was nothing, he told reporters. I'd been hit harder by fresh guys in the gym every day for weeks. That's the difference. Today's fighters train to win fights. Rocky trained like his life depended on it, because in his mind, it did. Diet and discipline. Let's talk food, because you don't train like that on fumes. Rocky's diet was no nonsense, massive and disciplined. Breakfast, oatmeal, eggs, whole wheat toast. Lunch and dinner, lean meats, steak, chicken, fish, piles of veggies and fruit. No processed junk, no sugar highs. His buddy Ali Colombo kept it strict, measuring portions like a drill sergeant. Rocky ate like a horse, but only what fueled the machine. Before a fight, he'd cut weight hard, dropping to 185, then bulk back up, hitting the scales lean and lethal. And sleep? In bed by 9:30 every night, no exceptions. He lived like a monk, zero nightlife, zero distractions. Compare that to today's fighters with their cheat day burgers and late-night gaming. Rocky's plate and pillow were as disciplined as his fists. And his daily schedule makes modern hard workers look like slackers. 5 a.m., wake up. 5:30 a.m., 8 to 10 mile run in weighted boots. 8 a.m., breakfast. 10 a.m., gym session, bags, calisthenics. 12 p.m., light lunch. 2 p.m., sparring, 20 to 30 rounds minimum. 5 p.m., strength work. 6 p.m., dinner. 7 p.m. evening 5-mile run, 9 p.m. lights out. 7 days a week, no days off, for 12 straight weeks before a fight. But here's the craziest part. Marciano maintained 80% of this regimen year-round, not just during fight camps. When asked why he lived like a monk between bouts, he gave an answer that should be tattooed on every fighter's chest. Because somewhere, someone is training to beat me. The mindset. But the real magic is headspace. Dr. Michael Gervais, who works with elite athletes, concluded, what separated Marciano wasn't just physical capacity. It was his relationship with pain. Where most humans interpret pain as a warning, Rocky saw it as confirmation he was on the right path. Take the infamous bite the towel drill. Marciano would fold a towel, bite down, and have his trainer deliver full-force body shots, not pulled punches, real rib-cracking shots. In the ring, Rocky explained, the guy who shows he's hurt is already half beaten. This drill teaches you to take it without blinking. Then came the medicine ball sit-ups. Rocky would do hundreds daily, but at the top of each rep, his trainer would drop a weighted ball onto his abdomen from standing height. It teaches you to breathe when you can't breathe, to function when your body wants to curl up. Modern fighters reschedule bouts over sprained ankles. Rocky once sparred 20 rounds with a broken hand. That mindset came from every mile, every rep, every sacrifice. Today's champs talk toughness on podcasts. Rocky lived it in silence, a warrior monk in a brutal game. But what did all this medieval torture produce? 49 fights, 49 wins, 43 knockouts, the highest knockout percentage, 87.8% of any heavyweight champion ever. Rocky never lost due to conditioning. He got stronger as fights progressed, the opposite of most heavyweights. Watch him in round 15 against Lastaza, or round 13 against Walcott. He's throwing with the same power as round 1, while opponents can barely keep their hands up. Even in his final bout against Archie Moore, after Moore scored a knockdown, Rocky roared back to floor Moore 4 times before the knockout. At 32, still in his prime, with millions more to earn, Rocky walked away, undefeated, undisputed. No other heavyweight champion has retired with a perfect record. Not Lewis, not Ali, not Tyson, just Rocky. Sports scientists who've studied Marciano agree on one thing. His methods, while brutal by modern standards, built a fighter uniquely equipped for battle. Why no one does this today? So why is this a lost art? Why don't today's heavyweights train like Rocky? First, modern sports science has proven recovery matters as much as stress. Today's fighters have specialists monitoring everything to prevent overtraining. Second, we know more about brain health. Rocky's 100-round sparring sessions would be considered criminally irresponsible now. Third, economics have changed. Today's top heavyweights fight once or twice yearly for millions. Career preservation matters more than in the 1950s. But there's a fourth reason nobody talks about. Few humans possess the psychological wiring to voluntarily endure that level of discomfort daily for years. Teddy Atlas put it best. Could a modern fighter train like Marciano? Physically, sure. But mentally, no chance. Today's athletes want success but aren't willing to pay Rocky's price. And who can blame them? It borders on insanity. That's not knocking today's fighters. It's acknowledging that Marciano operated on a different plane regarding work capacity and pain tolerance. There are natural athletes, Jimmy Cannon wrote, and self-made athletes. Rocky was neither. He was something